Mr. Mendez?
Present.
Mr. Wood absent. Mr. Gisono absent. Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mrs. Curley?
Present.
Mr. Callen?
Present.
Mrs. Brown absent.
Are there any problems with the minutes of the last meeting?
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Noes? First case will be a continued case, number 975 151 Mount Pleasant Street. Reason, the petitioner to provide a certified plot plan showing parking. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I just brought the plug that you guys request for the
You just
permit.
brought it tonight.
Huh?
You just brought it tonight?
Yeah,
Is this a single-family house now?
it's two family.
It's a two-family.
Yeah,
Two-family, so you really need... And you have stacked parking here?
yeah.
Can I see the fire agent? I just wanted to refresh my memory. Thank you.
Anyone on the board have any questions?
You only have one copy?
Yeah, here, take it.
Oh, I remember. So she's requesting to have a business at the house.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
So I still have the same problem with the home occupation that I had before. So, no, I don't have any questions.
What is the wish of the board?
The petition be granted.
Second.
Petition made by Mr. Callen, seconded by Mr. Cole to grant. Please call the roll.
Mr. Mendez?
Yes to grant.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mrs. Curley?
Yes.
Mr. Callen?
Yes, to grant.
Sorry about that.
30 days, you'll receive a letter.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Next continued case, number 9749, 12 Nelson Street.
Good evening, members of the board. Patrick Toulis here for petitioner Federico Bragna. Our case was continued so we could provide a certified plot plan for 5 or 4.5 parking spaces, in addition to the 4 spaces that were provided in the garage. I submitted plans a few weeks ago to the secretary, so I hope that everybody has theirs as a copy.
I seen that, but I didn't see enough
So
information.
I believe now we are compliant with the requirements of the application process. In addition, we submitted, I think the chairwoman requested floor plans showing the interior layout of the space. So we also submitted first floor and second floor
It doesn't
plans.
show the interior layout, it just shows apartment.
No, there's two. There's the apartment upstairs is just an open room with a bathroom and a kitchenette. It's a studio. It's
Yeah, I have a lot of questions on this case.
Sure.
So you can finish your presentation.
Okay, no, so the floor plan consists of the garage layout showing the overhead doors, the egress for the stair, and the second egress of the spiral stair, and the second floor plan of the apartment with just the layout being an open room. It's just a studio apartment. It's one occupant, Mr. Bragna, who intends to reside there. He's provided for a full bath and a kitchen. I don't believe anything else is required.
All right, but I do have some questions.
Sure, I'd be happy to answer.
First of all, it's a garage, and when I first looked at it, you can't build dwelling units on top of slab on grade. That's what I believe is there. It was never stated, they never showed any sections, through the wall sections. I haven't
No,
seen
the original plans that we submitted, which were part of the original application, did show framing plans. There were drawings S1 through S5, which showed all the framing. What we did not include was the floor plan, and that's what was requested. We have elevation drawings,
Yeah. Can you
framing
show me-
drawings.
Yeah, that's all right. Can you show me any sections, wall sections, on that particular building?
right here.
Let me see.
That shows the roof frame, it shows the height of the building, it shows the section through the building.
Please, I've never seen this.
It was included in our original
I'm telling you,
application.
I've never seen it. That's why.
But not everything goes to us. If you don't give a copy to each one of us, then we don't have
I
it.
submitted 6 complete copies of the application.
Yeah, I got it.
So they were all included in the same package.
You wanna look at mine?
Are you making this building longer or higher or something, these garages?
Well, we are extending the first floor out 3 feet in the front because it's not deep enough to accommodate the older vehicles that Mr. Braun owns. And he likes to work on his cars. So he can't pull in his, Fleetwood Cadillac without the garage door landing on the trunk. So he wants to extend the garage forward into his property 3 feet, and then at the same time, build a second story. So right now, it's just a single-story structure with a hip roof. They'll remove the roof framing and structure, reframe an entire floor over the garage, and then build the second story over that. And there will be a 1-foot overhang around the perimeter of the building.
So when it says apartment, the whole top of this garage is going to be his apartment?
One unit. Mr. Braun is a single individual, so it will be essentially a studio apartment.
So,
And he owns the 2-family that is 12 Nelson Street, where he currently is residing.
but this doesn't even show a bedroom, a living room.
It-
It says
It's a
apartment.
studio apartment.
So this entire whole thing across the front is
That
going
is
to be
what he
one room.
wants. He does not want individual rooms. That's the living space he envisions for himself.
Now, I was there Sunday, and they were stacked. 3 cars, 2 cars, 3 cars, and a car on the side. There were 9 cars all on top of each other. What are those cars? And they weren't antique cars.
No, those cars, Mr. Braun is in the auto repair business, owned a body shop in Lynn for
Well,
many
where are all
years.
those cars going to be?
Well, he'll store them off premises if necessary. I mean, that's a condition of the permit. But at a minimum, he should be able to park 5 cars
He has to have
plus
a place.
4 cars in the garage.
Well, the 4 cars in the
Because-
garage are his antique cars. They're not cars you're using.
Well, they're his cars. I mean,
But that has
whether they're
nothing
antique cars
that
or...
has nothing to do with the parking plan. The parking plan is for parking, not for cars to be stored.
But the parking plan is for the 5 vehicles that the 3 units require.
That's correct.
So he can park 5 cars outside, plus whatever he wants to put in his garage. That's my only point. The ordinance doesn't necessarily require a differentiation between what your intention of using the parking is for. I mean, as long as you provide the spaces. I mean, he's providing more than what's required as a condition that was expressed at the last meeting. So we've met that condition by adding 5 parking spaces.
How many cars can fit in the garage, just out of curiosity?
Well, it's 2 single overhead doors and a double overhead
So
door.
3.
So 4.
Oh, I see, okay.
So, getting back, I'm not finished.
So it really means there's 9
Sorry?
spaces.
I have more questions.
So there's really 9 parking spaces.
I'm ready
I don't
whenever.
count his cars that he stores in the garage parking spaces.
First of all, there was a question whether it was advertised properly in the paper. It was advertised as a single-family home, and it's more than that.
Well, the application indicated that it was an existing two-family. I can't control the advertising.
But I'm saying it wasn't advertised properly.
Well, that's not a
And that
question
was
that I
brought
can
up-
answer.
Wait a minute, you have to listen to me sometimes too.
Sure.
It was brought up by the chairman, that it was, she thought it was advertised not properly. And I'm not sure if she asked for an opinion from the city solicitor or not.
Well, to that question, we were noticed to appear, so I can only assume that it was clear, because otherwise we would have been told that our case had to be re-advertised. But we were told that, we
Well, as far
heard.
as I'm concerned, it was advertising properly. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's my judgment. Because normally we see something like that, we notify the petition and we re-advertise. The other thing I'd like to talk about is the layout. You're expanding that quite a bit. And I'm really concerned about the lack of space on the ends. Now, there's a spiral staircase inside, which I imagine is acceptable in the state building code. But is there any way you can get out the back of the building? Is there any egress out the primary?
If it's a masonry building, so
You know
if-
something? Let me-
that would be up to the building inspector, I
Let me,
believe.
wait a minute.
Back here, we have an easement that goes to Western Avenue.
If I can answer it.
No, let me straighten out one thing. If I'm talking to you, I want the answer. I'm not gonna talk to him because he acted up on me last week.
No, but
He
see-
messed up my paperwork and everything.
I understand and we
I'm gonna talk to
apologize
you,
for that.
and you answer to me. If you could convey that to him, I'd appreciate it.
I did. I asked him to go sit down.
That's it. Good.
But to your question,
Yes.
if it's an egress issue, that would be taken up by the building inspector. And
No, we have a right to ask and have that answered. Yeah.
I can't answer that because that is a building code issue that the building inspector would have to.
We judge on that too, as you well know. You've been in before us before. You know that, and you see yourself.
I understand, but if you could hear me out.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
If another egress is required by the building inspector, we will provide it. It's not shown because these are not permit sets. These are conceptual drawings for the benefit of the board.
Yeah, but they are to me. They are to me.
Well, then
Just
that's
telling you, that's
okay,
right.
but that's a condition that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, oh yeah, we do that. And on the ends, there's hardly enough room. If someone went out the back of the building, see, there should be a primary means of egress and a secondary. And it's supposed to be remote. And I don't see any secondary that's remote. And on the ends where you're expanding, it's choked off to about 2.5 feet.
We're not expanding on the ends, we're only expanding on the front.
Well, I'm just telling you right now, it's too narrow. I wouldn't vote for such a narrow part right there.
Where, if you look at the plan in view that shows the floor plan of the building,
Yep.
it shows the extension forward, 3 feet forward, but it doesn't show anything on the sides except at the second floor level. So the extension on the side is at the second floor level, and it's only 1 foot on either side.
The extension of the building itself, up above the garage.
On the second floor, it overhangs.
Okay,
1 foot.
what is the number between the property line and the first floor?
Well, that's on the parking plan, okay?
Tell me what it
That's why we are here. We need a variance because we're too close to the property lines on the side and the back. So
is. Tell me what it is, the numbers. We don't scale things around here.
it's written on the plan, 2.5 feet at the back,
That's what I'm saying.
3.4 feet in the front, 2.3 feet in this rear property line, and it's not noted on there, but it's the furthest
It
point
should be,
away.
it should be.
prepared by a registered land surveyor in accordance with the standards that
Okay,
they
Mike,
have.
and I appreciate this. But we have our own way of looking at public safety
No, I'm just reading
as
this.
our main importance.
So if I can ask, what is the public safety concern?
Public safety is enough room. And what you're gonna do is think of that, because I'll ask to continue this. I have issues and
And I will respectfully decline to continue. I will ask for a vote because I believe it to be unreasonable, with all due respect. I was led to believe at the last hearing that if we came with a parking plan,
nobody ever said that would be a recommendation.
most definitely it was said that if we just submitted the requested
I
documentation.
remember someone just doing that. It wasn't me, by all means. So you do whatever you want to know, and I'll vote because I have questions on this. I have questions, and I want an answer.
I'm trying to answer, so if you keep asking, I'll continue to
You
answer.
just said,
Hey, Pat, I got
not what?
this is a spiral staircase going downstairs.
That's what's shown.
Yeah.
The building inspector may not allow.
No,
it.
I'm just saying. And where does it egress the building? Where does it leave the building?
That's it.
Right now, there's no door in the back of the garage.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
one is required,
That's
You
what
put one in.
bothers me.
we could put one in.
Because
But
he has land back there, plus he has egress all the way up to west.
We're not saying that we're not going to comply with building code.
Right.
We're just asking for the zoning relief. The building inspector will dictate what we need to comply with.
Yep.
That's all. I mean, I don't know that the zoning board rules on building regulations, setbacks, and zoning relief, not to the extent, I did not come here prepared to discuss, code compliance from a building standpoint. I don't know that that's a requirement. If it is, then I suggested that be put into the rules and regulations, because I don't see it.
I mean, it's-
With all due respect to Mr. Cameron, I respect your service and everything, but I think you're
Okay,
being
I
a
get
little...
enough of you describing what I am. You know what I just said about me being move forward with it. I can't do it because it's not in the best interest of public safety. That is my main thing here, because this is a tight site. It's really tight, and I don't know what's going to happen there. It's overcrowded as it is. But
Well, because Mr. Bryan has too many cars there, we'll take the cars away.
I'm not talking about the cars. I know you showed a parking plan. Did I discuss that? No. But you can proceed any way you want.
I have a question just about logistically how this works. If the garage is right here and parking spaces, I guess 4 and 5 are right there, how, if there's a car in parking spaces 4 and 5, are cars going to get into these two bays?
Well, because...
I'm not seeing how that's going to work.
At the meeting, at the last meeting, the chairwoman said she would not consider the garage spaces parking spaces because we were going to use them for storage. And that was
That's what I
repeated-
said,
And that was
yeah.
repeated tonight. So we put the 5 parking spaces where they would be better, situated, taking into account that if the cars were stored in the garage, in those 2 bays, they would be there for storage.
So, some of these parking spaces are not real then?
No, they're real. You can park cars there. You can park a car in front of your garage door and have a car inside, can't you?
Well, if you have tenants in the front building, I don't understand how you're going to control the tenants parking there, because that's...
Because Mr. Bronya lives over the garage. Or he will live over the garage.
So
He
is
will-
this parking not going to be for the tenants?
It could be for the tenants, but the tenants may not have a car, or they only have 1 car, maybe have 2 cars. But Mr. Bronya is the owner of the property and will be living on premises. Maybe in the future, somebody else will own the property and use the garage for parking instead of for storing their vehicles. See, this is the difficulty I had. The zoning ordinance doesn't specify how the parking is used, only that you provide it. So we have a 4-car garage, plus we've allowed for 5 additional parking spaces. That's more than what is required. The fact that maybe a car has to park in front of the garage door, people do that all the time. I have a 2-car garage at home, and my son's parked in front of one of the garage doors. Does that mean
Yeah,
that...
but your son is not a tenant who you have,
Well,
I mean, I see that as different, that's not analogous.
Mr. Bronya, if you needed them to move the car, could just ask them to. It's not an absentee
It
landlord.
seems like we're trying to shoehorn a lot.
I mean,
into
it's
this
not an
small lot.
absentee landlord situation. I understand your point, but
It seems like we're trying to really shoehorn a lot into an already small lot.
this is a residential 4 district, so 4 units are permitted. We're only looking at 3 units. There's a house next door.
4 units are permitted as long as you comply with all the dimensional requirements, and you wouldn't have to come before this board. The very fact that you have to come before this board means you're not in compliance with something in terms of what
Because
you
we want to
what you
build
want
on
to
top of
do,
the garage. He wants
Yeah.
to build a living unit over the garage.
without having the required setback and all that, and all the requirements of the zoning ordinance. So that's why you're here to begin with. So the fact that you're here means you're asking for something that you don't have the right to do.
That's true of everybody.
It is.
Mr. Vitale will be only too happy to say that if we didn't have to come here. So what we're asking for is zoning relief, so that he can add a living space above an existing garage. It's not that he's building a new building. The building is there. All he wants to do is go up. But he can't because the building is too close to the property line.
What is the, I mean, you said you're not here to discuss building regulations, which I understand that that's the building department's responsibility, or inspection services. But what we are here to discuss are things like the size of the lot, the topography of the lot, whether there's a hardship. Those are the issues that this board really has the authority to determine. And I haven't really heard any discussion about the size of the lot and how its topography or shape or anything like that is different than the neighborhood. I haven't heard any discussion about a hardship that the zoning relief is going to address.
There is a statement in our application. It talks about the reasons for the requested relief. There is no change in use, the property will remain residential, but he's seeking to add a 3rd dwelling unit over the garage. It's in an R4 district. So the only differentiation between this lot and the abutting lots is that, he's abutting a commercial use property on the Western Avenue side of the property as well as to the rear. The property that's abutting him has 2 structures on it, existing. There's a house in the front and another house in the rear. So his property is consistent, and so he's looking to use it as being consistent with the neighborhood. So
How many neighbors have a lot of cars that they're going to keep on the lot and store on the lot?
well, I can't answer that question. I don't know what...
There probably aren't any.
But there are 2 dwelling units on a single lot directly next door to Mr. Brown, as well as, commercial uses along Mr. Brown. And there's other structures further down the street that are multifamily in nature. The zoning ordinance was amended and changed. It's still an R4 zone. He's not looking to build a new structure. He's only looking to expand a non-conforming structure. Pre-existing.
Well, you're going to turn right now what is essentially a 2-unit lot into a 3-unit use lot on a very small lot. And I still haven't heard anything about what the hardship is that this zoning relief is going to address. That's a requirement of the statute, of the zoning act.
So the hardship, is there really a hardship? I can't say that, with respect to the land per se, because the hardship has to be with respect to the land. So the lot was laid out and built upon at a time that zoning didn't exist. So the circumstances have changed. So Mr. Grania is requesting, modest relief to expand his garage. Now, if there were people here in objection, I can understand the board taking that into consideration, but this board makes its own rules and has in the past, and I've seen them vote on issues that you're raising that had no hardship at all and granted the relief because the petitioner requested it and it was a valid reason. If now you're holding Mr. Browning to a different standard, then he doesn't have a chance of prevailing. So, to your question, I don't have a good answer. I don't have a good answer, in all honesty. Okay? But that can be true for everybody who comes before this board. It's just the way the zoning rules are now versus what they were, when these buildings were built. This garage has existed for 60 or 70 years. It will continue to exist. Maybe it will exist without a second floor on top.
Are you implying that this board favors some people and not?
I am most definitely implying.
Well, I object to that.
And you're free to. But that's been my experience. I've been before this board on this project, in our Parrott Street project, and I've been greeted with the same hostility. And Mr. Cole has been on both boards, and I believe, you can all draw your own conclusions, but I would ask that if you would vote, and then we'll move on. Because I find that this...
When you put it there, you gotta leave it.
No, I was showing it to you. It was included in your packet.
Any
All
other
right, so
questions from the board?
So I can't have that, right?
You had it in your packet.
Just answer yes or no.
I'll make a copy if you like, but that's my
forget it.
only
No,
copy.
forget it.
Mrs. Chairman, I got a question of petitioner. The original, two people on the original case are not here tonight. Both the chairman, Mrs. Brown, and Mr. Gisano. So there's only three that are originally here. I think it would be in your best interest to continue.
Well, I'll be happy to continue.
I'm just saying.
I will. I'll be happy to continue, but
That's 40%.
I am a little frustrated, and I hope everybody can appreciate, that, all these questions come up, and for the life of me, I've sat on hearings and I've not seen the same questions asked of other petitioners.
Yeah.
No, each one is different.
I'm sure.
Each petition is different. You never know how it's going to go until it gets open. But I just think in your best interest to have this done as fairly as possible. You ought to continue it so that the original 5 members that heard it can at least hear it, decide on it. That's just my opinion.
Then I'll make a request to continue.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I don't think we should wait, because he's already said, he's already told me that everything I asked him, I'm wrong, evidently according to him, and I don't see why prolong it means it's going to change, I don't.
Shannon,
I'll make a motion to continue the case.
and if there's one no,
It's got to be a majority, 3.
It's majority.
Yeah, it'd be a majority.
To continue,
Can you
right?
continue it? Yes.
who will second that?
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Cole, seconded by Mr. Mendez to continue. Please call the roll.
Mr. Mendez?
Yes, to continue.
Yes to continue. Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Yes to continue. Mr. Kalman?
Yes.
Yes to continue. Mrs. Curley?
Yes.
Be honest.
August 16th.
Next time, I'm gonna hear more bullshit.
Won't be here next time also.
I'm gonna hear all the bullshit that.
Very pleasant
Next time, I'm
man.
not gonna hear anymore.
Very pleasant.
What do we got? Daytona Road?
Daytona Road, let's see. Case number 9754, Lot 7, Daytona Road. Petitioner Dennis Ring, owner under agreement by his attorney Samuel A. Vitale, allow the construction of a single-family dwelling in the R Single Family District on a lot with less than the required frontage.
Attorney Karen, this is Dennis Young's wife. Dennis is a lieutenant in the fire department, an EMT. Presently, they live in Everett. They found a lot in Wood 1. They want to build a home. The area has been laid out, plan of record, as single-family house lots. When it was originally laid out, it was laid out as a 5,000 square foot lot, a 5,000 square foot lot on a street called Bernard Street, which is a paper street that never got developed. Over the years, the lots on what is now Daytona have been developed, and in fact, I think I put in the package a variance granted by this board for essentially the same reasons that Dennis is here. The lots, as you know, a 5,000 square foot lot with 50 feet of frontage is buildable for a one-family or a two-family purpose, provided it was not held in common ownership with any other lots. And the predecessor and title that owns these lots, Mr. Howard, they were owned in common ownership. So originally when Dennis came here, I said, well, let me look at the chain of title, because it may be that you don't need anybody's approval and you can build on a 5,000 square foot lot. But because they were held in common ownership, then it does have to meet today's requirements. And today's requirements, different than when this plan was done and different when the plan was done in the past in 1992, is that you now need 75 feet of frontage for a single-family dwelling. That's the only reason he's here, is that he has 50 feet. The lot's never going to get any bigger. It's 56 feet of frontage. It's 10,080 square feet. It's identical to the lots on either side. As I say, some of which came before you for the same exact relief. Why he chose to go forward is that he has a purchase and sales agreement, which you can see is there, and he has certain deadlines that he has to meet or he loses what he's got invested and he loses the opportunity to buy the lot. So he didn't have a lot of flexibility about coming back on the 16th, because if you look at the agreement, it said that he had to get approval from this board, and we're just sort of under the wire because you guys moved the meeting from the 19th, which is the date that we put in the purchase and sales agreement, to the 26th. I think the owner is here, and he understands that that's through no fault of Dennis's, that he couldn't obtain the approval by the 19th because the meeting got moved to the 26th. So why we're here is he wants to build a single-family home. Mr. Reed's giving you a layout of that home. It shows landscaping. It shows two-car parking on site. Mr. Wyckoff has provided a drawing of the home to be built. They've done soil testing. There's no blasting needed. It's going to fit in with the neighborhood. It's going to be a single-family dwelling. It's going to be another lot where a person's going to pay taxes who happens to be a city employee and who wants to move back to the city where he works as a firefighter. So the real question is, instead of 75 feet, he's got 56, and if you look at the lots on either side, they have 56 feet of frontage.
Well, I went to Daytona Road Sunday morning, and I didn't have no clue as to where I was going or what I was looking at. There's a house that's there. Is that house going?
No, there's a house on either side. This is a wooded lot.
See this here?
No. That plan is of a house that was approved by the Board of Appeals in 1992, and that plan got recorded, and I have to put my glasses on. But it is adjoining. If you look at the plans that I submitted, which was the original plan, right, it's this lot that's adjoining, right here. See, Mr. Howard owned this one and this one.
That house is existing, right?
This house is existing, you're correct. He wants to build on this lot. And Mr. Reed provided,
But how
I never saw Mr. Reed.
How would any of us know that there was a lot next to it? I sat out there and all I could see was this house and a little garage or
well,
something.
we gave,
No
let me
clue.
just, again, I will give you copies of Mr. Reed's plan that shows the house that's proposed. Here are copies for all of you members. And you'll see Ms. Sullivan's on one side and Mr. LaRocca's on the other side. And they got developed, as I say, with 50 feet of frontage, 56 feet.
Yeah, well, thank you, because we never saw this.
Oh, I know. This is different
So
because
there's
there
a
was
house on the
pork chop.
corner of
Yeah.
Winfield Street,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the next thing is this house that I don't know if it was staying or going or what.
The
right,
house
on
is staying.
Daytona.
There is an existing
So
home.
someplace in the middle is where you're going?
There's a wooded area, yes.
I know, but how do you get to the wooded area?
Off Daytona.
Right from the street.
Right from Daytona.
There's actually a row of what looks like bushes in the front that spans the entire front of this.
So there's bushes there.
Okay, where is that garage?
There's bushes there?
There's no garage. This is completely
Right,
bare.
so when they-
This is completely bare land.
Yeah,
No, we
this
were
is a
there.
different
How
plan
am I
than I
supposed to know that
stand
those trees are a road?
Daytona was the public way.
for. Yes, it
See,
is.
and do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but I'm saying to you that the public way is Daytona. Bernard Street, which is what, at the rear, never got built.
I know.
Mr. Ray, let me ask
So
you a
that-
question. Excuse me. Is there a garage right here
To another
on
property.
this other lot?
No, I don't believe the garage is on that side, no.
Oh.
There is no garage there.
Oh, so this is the layout. The layout we had showed a dog leg on it. This is the lot you're talking about right here. This is your,
May I see that for a second? I just can't read upside down.
That's the assessors map?
yeah.
Yeah.
Is this the one you're talking about, that?
Just have a-
Yes, correct. That is Daytona Road here, that is the lot of land. That's the house on one side, their garage is on this side, and then this is the house on the other side.
Yeah. See the
But all
problem?
the lots are all the same size.
Yeah. Problem is, nothing is laid out on the ground, so we can't tell.
There were stakes in the ground since last
Was there?
Wednesday. Yes, last Wednesday.
You know, it's a good thing, if you ever go through this again, put a sign out front.
Okay.
Little sign,
Okay.
so it's.
Yeah, well, Mr. Reed staked the lot.
He
My
staked.
God, he must have staked them with invisible stakes.
Yes, the whole thing's staked. The stakes, not only, he staked the lot on the land, and then the excavators who did the soil testing staked it in the street exactly where it was going to line up.
I'm just a friend.
A friend of a friend, he's got a picture.
I'm a friend of Rob's, and this is Google Maps, so I don't know how to work it.
No problem. So that's the house on the right-hand side of the
Yeah.
property. That's the wooded area, and that's the house on the left side of the property. The wooded area right here, which is the same size as both properties on each side, is where.
But you can understand.
Oh, I
If you're
completely
sitting out
understand.
there and all you see is trees
I
and a
can-
house and a house.
I fully
and you have
understand.
no clue as to where it's going.
Yeah, but there are markers in each ground. Yep.
Well, they have to be an inch high.
If we had had this, we could have, I would have to know these people. If we had known that, you know, would have known.
I thought we
We
were
didn't have
driving in
to.
somebody's yard
Yep. So it's
to get to the wood area.
That's what I thought.
Yep. Like I said, it's the same size as the two lots on each side. I very well understand how you can say, well, where is it? Because there's a couple different lots of land on that street that are open right now, so, but,
So is the only zoning issue the frontage?
correct.
56 feet.
Because you need 70,
Right.
75, that's right.
But if you look at the lots on
Where
the
is
side
Linfield
of the
Street
street, they're all
from here?
56. They were all 5,000 square foot lot, 5,040.
So out
The
here,
original plans laid them out, they were double lots.
Structure would be from,
coming out of Linfield Street, you take a right on Daytona.
Yep.
I think that plan.
As you're going down Daytona, that's the lot on the right, correct?
It's on the right.
Yes. It backs up to the new development on Kent Road that is going in right now. That's all.
But I'm saying, this is the lot you're talking about.
Correct. Yep. This is a
So it's on,
10,000.
you take a right off Linfield
so
Street,
if I'm right,
It's
10 feet
on
on this side from the wall,
and it's on the right
10
down
feet on this
there.
side from the wall.
So it stakes here, we
And
can see it.
there's,
Oh yeah, the whole thing is there.
I am. What's the siding going to be on this house?
Vinyl.
Vinyl. Going to have shutters? Going to have anything good looking?
Oh yeah, it's gonna have the shutters on each side of it. I haven't figured out exactly. Me and her can't 100% agree on the house color
Well, we
yet.
didn't get too far. We discussed, but that's more or less what it's going to look
There's
like.
some nice landscape.
It can't be
Oh, yes,
more-
very nice.
Can't be more or less. If you're submitting this is what you're building.
Yep.
Well, we did own a house on Linfield Street. We lived there for
9 years.
9 years.
Uh-huh.
And we sold it fast. That's why we're in Everett right now, because we needed a place to go. And we want to stay in Lynn. That's the whole point of this. So
I don't blame you.
I've born and raised in Lynn. I lived behind Engine 11 my whole
our
life.
kids
So
are in school. We don't want to go
Only a
anywhere.
fireman would say he lives behind engine 11.
Do you have a deck?
there'll be a 10. I believe it's a 10-foot by 12-foot deck off the back.
So based on the topography here, you're not gonna have a basement? Or you're gonna have a...
No, it's gonna be it's basically an elevated basement. You're gonna drive right in the front. Correct.
Yeah, so you're not digging the basement per se?
No. I think he said there might be digging down maybe 3 or 4 feet for the footings.
Frost line.
whatever it
No,
is.
that's
yeah.
minimum 4 feet.
Okay, whatever, yeah.
Minimum. It's minimum. You can dig a little deeper if you want.
Right.
Is it
But
because
it-
there's ledge or bedrock or something like that?
Soil conditions at the back, and I think it slopes a little bit.
yeah, it slopes down from the back.
Topography.
Peterson Excavation, who did the excavating, said that there's no ledge where the foundation's going.
Right, so it's going to be a good fit.
Oh, yeah, yes. It's going to fit into the neighborhood very nicely. It's not a McMansion or anything that's going to look ugly or an eyesore.
It's
at
to
all.
blend well, it's sympathetic with the rest of the area.
Oh, yes, oh, yes.
We don't want to stick out.
When you're done.
I have another.
That's fine. Look at these.
I don't know if you're...
So I'm going to have
How many bedrooms?
the yard will be fenced and whatnot. There'll be bushes somewhere out in the front, I'm not exactly sure.
Shrubbery.
Yes, shrubbery, yes.
I'll take care of it.
That's her call.
All right. I like that.
You're not going to drop the mill tank right now.
Always stay on the good side.
Thank God I said that too. So,
Any other questions from the board?
I have no further...
Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone wishing to speak in favor?
You can go back to
Okay.
Hearing none, the hearing is closed for those wishing to speak in favor. Anyone in opposition? Anyone in opposition? Please come up and give your name and your address to the secretary.
Ladies, gentlemen, I'm in Wheel of Rock, and actually the butter to that property.
On what side?
side?
Let me look at this.
Looking at it, it's on the left.
It would be on the left-hand
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was your name? Leo.
On the
Wheel of Rock?
right side. With the for sale sign on it? Do you
I
have a
didn't
for
hear
sale
your last
sign on your
name.
house?
I hope not.
No, I'm just trying to figure what's
No way you
on.
wanna buy it?
If I was standing here,
You still look.
looking at it, right, you're over here.
You-
You're not on the Linfield Street side.
No,
You're on the
I'm on
other
the...
side. Is it the house next to that that has a for sale sign on it?
No, actually, I believe that's next to Mrs. Sullivan's house. There's a small little house down the end of the street. So if you were actually coming down Daytona Street, you're probably looking at 1, 2, 3, the third house on the right-hand side. That's the one that's for sale. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
No
interrupt.
problem, not a problem. Yeah, I mean, first I just wanted to mention, I mean, Rob Howard, you know, I think he's an excellent neighbor. He's always been a good guy, no problems there. And as far as the land, I'm sure he's paid a lot of taxes on it over the years, so I don't know if they have caused any type of, hardship. I don't know. That's, that's the situation now. But what I'm concerned about are the bylaws that come into play on this lot.
Oh, the what?
The bylaws, as far as the frontage being undersized.
I can barely hear you. Could you
Oh, I'm
speak up?
sorry. What I'm concerned about are the bylaws. It's just, obviously they were put into place as a guideline and protection. I'm just worried about the neighborhood becoming over infringed because if this house is put in there, I don't know the layout, how it's set up, elevation, where it's going to be. I did overhear the original blasting, so that's a good thing. I'm glad to hear that because the last thing we need more blasting in the neighborhood. I'm just afraid that this might set the benchmark for other areas that maybe, the idea of selling land this size. Next door to us, we have another piece of land that's for sale, and I know that might even cause more infringing on the neighborhood. Also, too, we just had a street put in, and I think we worked very hard for a long time to get that street put in. And I just hate to see it all torn up, as far as utilities going into the new property. Again, I mean, they seem like very nice people, and I'm sure that they would like to have a house there, but again, I'm just very concerned about those bylaws not being met and bringing down the value of our neighborhood. Because honestly, I don't think we could take another hit financially on our neighborhood.
Are you saying a brand new house would bring down the value of the surrounding?
Well, I'm just worried about it being squeezed in there really tight.
Well, it's near the same size lots around there.
Right, it would.
They were put in, it meets all the setbacks, that isn't squeezing it in.
Okay, but as far as the reason why we're here is because there is a questioning of the bylaws as far as the frontage, being 75 feet, correct?
No, but the house on either side of it only has 56-foot frontage.
Right. The one at my house or the one beside my house?
Either one of them.
I don't want to, yeah, because I know the house at one time, before I bought it, it actually belonged to the whole house. all three pieces. And the people who bought the house couldn't afford it, so they subdivided the land. And this is what they came up with. My question is the property grandfathered in as far as being buildable?
If he had the 75-foot frontage, he wouldn't even be here tonight.
Okay, correct.
That's why he's here.
Yeah.
But since the lot on either side of him, they only have 56-foot frontage, it doesn't seem fair that he should not be able to build.
I understand that we're looking for leniency on this, I do. And again, they seem like very nice people, and they're probably going to put up a beautiful home. I just feel that, again, will this infringe on the neighborhood if we allow this? What will happen next door? Or what will happen down the street?
See, there is a state law too. If you have minimum 5,000 feet,
Yep.
and minimum 50-foot frontage, you meet all the setbacks, it's a land of record. You can build a house, you get out and get a permit tomorrow on that. You don't have to come, you don't have to have 75-foot frontage. If it's a land of record, if it's registered land,
Okay.
it's a different thing. I mean, Mr. Vitale can speak for that. Is that right, the 5,000
Yeah,
feet?
it's chapter 48A6 of the state zoning and area law, which is sealed in the property, and which encourages the development of one or two family homes. It provides specifically
Right.
5,000 square foot, 50
Yeah.
feet front.
Okay. He did mention that earlier. I did hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we never see anything like that in here, because he just got out and put an application, and that's it. But we talk about grandfathering, that's a type of grandfathering, because we don't have in our zoning laws grandfather.
Okay.
So that's, it's like some people come in and they say, well, we have an in-law apartment. No such a thing in the zoning laws in that. It's used all the time with a statement. Just give me the sewage or something like that. I mean, that's the way it is. You don't need 10,000 square feet. Most areas, yeah, you do, but there are exceptions.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be, if this had special recognition, they could do it tomorrow, 5,000 feet.
Well, if that's what the zoning is, the requirement, and that's, obviously acceptable, then, obviously I'm not going to sit here and argue about it. I'm not going to do that. I just had very concerned about the value of the neighborhood. We like the way it is, we didn't like a whole lot of changes, and I realize changes do happen, I get it. My concern is that everything is met up to the environmental, as far as the condition, keeping up the street, not leaving a big mess. I like to see plot plans, I like to see elevations, because the land does have a lot of high elevations to it, which a lot of retainage, land retainage. So these are things that I would like to see, which I'm sure that will probably happen down the road before anything else is further granted. And that's all I respect.
Oh, I clearly understand where you're coming from, and there is at least one other lot. It's probably developable on that street as well, right?
It's on the opposite side. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with everything going on behind us, with all the blasting and all the construction work, I mean, we're going to have obviously construction all around us. And it's going to cause a lot of wear and tear in the streets, equipment going up and down the road. I'm just worried about, our streets being destroyed.
Which I can understand.
Absolutely.
Anyone else wish to speak in opposition? Anyone else in opposition?
Not opposition, I just have some questions. Hi, my name is Joan Sullivan, and I'm the person who lives to the right of this property. Okay? And I'm a friend of Rob's. We're neighborhood friends and everything. I just have some questions. A couple of weeks ago, we had the soil tested, and I wonder if you have that report.
We wouldn't see that.
No.
Who would see that?
Well, probably the building department.
Okay, I was just curious because it's right outside my bedroom, in bathroom window. And we are experiencing tremendous explosions out back from the blasting, on the Paper Street, Bernard Avenue. So I'm really concerned. I did speak with Rob myself on how can we definitely promise us that there will be no blasting Can that be a promise?
Well, I think he already stated that.
Yes,
And
I
it's
saw
on the
him, I heard
record.
him
It's
state
on the
that.
record.
want blasting either, trust me, we have.
The only way you can get blasting approval is by a state fire marshal.
Right.
It's a fire department procedure. This board has no jurisdiction.
Yeah, we have no
over blasting.
jurisdiction.
Well, I guess what I'm
But to
saying
get
is,
blasting, you would need the approval of the state fire marshal, you have to post a bond. But there is no need for blasting because they paid, had the soil tested, and there's no placement of the building anywhere in ledge. So, and they don't even have a full basement.
okay, so I do live next door, as I said,
Right.
and I know there's a ton of rock. So I see the spikes, you know, the two orange spikes, and then I think I heard him say something about a back deck, and I'm thinking, where? I mean, you know, if you come up the street again, and my son and I think we saw you the other day, only we didn't know who you were. If you would come up the street and get a better view, you know, that would be helpful. But I don't want to, you know, Rob is a friend, so I want to make sure that there's no blasting. And if they are going to go through that rock, is there such a thing as drilling the rock and putting splinters in the rock and
Yeah, chipping.
chipping? Yeah. Would that be what would be done? Because there would be obviously no better.
That's an alternative to blasting. It's noisy for a day or so. They chip
But
it away.
is that going to be done? That's all I want to know.
There's no need because of the placement of the house, that's why I gave you a copy of where the
Yeah.
house is going to be set. Part of the consideration of placing the house closer to the front of the street is to avoid any pockets at the rear. of the
Yes,
street.
I understand. And my house is close to the front of the street.
Yeah, but to answer your question,
Yes.
they've already stated there'll be no blasting, they've already dug.
Yes, I saw the digging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are other ways of getting rock, ledge, bedrock out, and that's hammering.
Yeah.
And that's drilling holes and putting wedges and
Yeah.
bulldog rock busters into it. But they've already said there's no need of all that.
Did you actually get a written report?
No, I spoke with my builder who, he had Peterson excavation.
Yeah.
Soil testing.
Yeah, can you get a letter to that effect?
Okay,
Yeah.
yes,
That's
exactly.
good.
Where the foundation is going, there's no.
We have a foundation, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about this deck that you're going to put on.
It's just a,
The deck,
Yeah.
that's just a small,
to put a patio.
And you're a young
furniture
couple,
on down.
and you probably have children. And from where the end of the spikes is, it's not just a little rocky, it goes right up into.
Oh, I'm well aware of that. And a lot of those rocks will be moved during the construction process, but it's not the ledge that we're moving, they're the
Okay.
boulders that are going to be moved.
Okay.
Like the boulders that are sitting on the land, it's,
Yep.
those particular boulders, as I'm not understanding from my contractor, those aren't ledge, those are boulders.
Boulders, they are boulders.
I'm sure there might be ledge up in the back of the property.
Boulders.
That property goes another, probably goes at least another 90 feet back past where my house is going to sit.
Just like everybody else does.
Okay.
I'm not really doing anything with the back of the property up on top of the hill. If anything down the line, you try to leave a grass area, it's going to stay a hill.
And
It's
then
not-
it'll be below the house garage, is that what you said? You come in and go under the house, below the house garage.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming the garage, the driveway is going to be on my side of the house, I think.
Yes.
I think so, because their driveway is on the left side. Yes. I knew the Green family a long time ago, we would be on your neighbors. I don't want to start out as enemies. I just wanted some surety that.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
And you know what?
We don't want to make anybody angry either.
No.
Give it a raise on
No.
family and then have to-
You don't want to start off on the wrong foot again.
No, exactly.
Okay, Mr. Ring, from start of construction to completion, so there won't be too much upset on the road, how long do you estimate from the time you start to you turn the key to get in the house?
I honestly, I am giving you a complete guesstimate if I gave you an answer. I'm hoping to be, I'd love being there by Christmas, I don't see that happening.
December, maybe
I'm
January.
thinking more towards the end of January.
It's a good
From the
question.
time I turn key. I'm hoping.
But I mean, the heavy construction
Heavy construction
would be over before the snow flies in.
Oh, yes, yeah, that'll be the fall. As my contractor told me, he said, putting in the foundations, the hardest part, once that's in, the building will lay out.
Right, so you can't give us any rough estimate.
If
Can you give us a rough estimate on,
you break ground in September, I'd say the heavy excuse me, no less, heavy construction, the tree removal and whatnot. I'd say by-
In months.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say once the clear the land out and everything and get ready, and once the foundation be from start to finish. And then from there, it's just putting on frame of the building.
So you don't want to go down as against this, in opposition?
No, I just really wanted
You just
to have
want
those
information.
questions.
Right,
Yes, so I won't be
Absolutely.
surprised. All right, thank you, thank you.
Anyone in opposition? Anyone else in opposition? Hearing none, the hearing is closed for those in opposition. What is the wish of the board?
Move the petition be granted.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Mendez, seconded by Mr. Callen to grant. Please call the roll.
Mr. Mendez?
Yes to grant.
Yes to grant. Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Yes to grant. Mr. Callen?
Yes to grant.
Yes to grant. Mrs. Curley?
Yes to grant.
Yes to grant.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
One more case.
Do we need to vote to continue the other ones to the 16th?
Yeah, we can do that afterwards.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Which one?
Case number 9757, 746, 748 Washington Street. Petitioner Omar. I'm sorry.
He's decided discretion is a better part of to come back on the 16th. He has to be here on the 16th or something else.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we need to vote to continue these to the 16th?
Although we haven't opened them up.
Yeah.
We haven't opened them
No, we
up.
haven't even opened it up.
Is that it? We're going to
Yeah.
continue everything else?
Everything else is continued. Nelson Street is continued, Glen Court is continued, Western Ave is continued, Denport Road is continued, North Common Street and Washington, everything else is continued.
Six cases.
Huh?
6 cases continued. And I don't know if this, I don't know, I haven't seen that yet.
I won't be here.
Yep, next meeting.
Good one to miss. Motion to
Oh
adjourn?
yeah, I'm sorry, we're getting adjourned. All in favor?
Aye.